So Bharti, the question would probably be very prominent from people asking, but how do I create a vision? Can you give us some thoughts on that?
I get that question very often. I don't have the answer, because it's almost impossible to answer that question, to create a vision. Because it's a combination of so many thoughts that go through so many people's minds. And as I said, it is embedded in your subconscious mind. We just need to draw it out and then unpack it, put it together like a jigsaw puzzle and see the picture. Because we all around that boardroom table, has a contribution to make. So we've got a lot of pieces of the puzzle in here. So we just need to bring it out and pack the puzzle. And those are also the principle of effective coaching. Because the only way to coach people effective to get down to the core, to get down to the why they feel the way they do, why they do what they do. So it's important to understand that, and the same apply when we talk about vision. That we entrust people's concept of the future and vision, put it together, put it in the pot, boil it a little bit, shake it a bit around, wonderful what you come up with. The mind sometimes can't logically put a lot of things in line, because it sometimes simply doesn't make sense. But when you overlay them or combine them, so I take out my puzzle pieces, your puzzle pieces, and everybody around it, and we put it on the table, and we create this phenomenal vision of the picture that comes to mind. And that's really what it all. So there's an element of trust when we talk about vision. Trust what the people bring to the table. Doesn't matter how strange, how crazy, how laughable the concept and idea may be. It's all part of what is in here, how we see that. And if we start putting it together, it starts making logical sense once we put it together. But if you're trying to take the pieces, it doesn't make it sense there. So what I take companies through and share with them is that there's two elements of it. There's the overview, insight, and foresight. Go through those three, because that's the important part of creating the vision and start living it in terms of the foresight, so that I can see it. Okay? So when we talk about the overview, that's really the picture of why I've got an eagle in my logo, because I'm passionate about what an eagle stand for and represent, how they live their lives, what role they play in family life, how they bring up their kids, and how they just live in terms of what they catch, what they eat. So it's important to just relate, and that comes back to business if we apply that directly. So I take people there and just get them to understand that we see with our eyes, but we see different things. We all know that. Sometimes you look, you don't see. That's what I want. But the creation of that concept and that vision and putting together those dreams that we formulate is that overview. To get an overview of everything and everybody's participation and involved in that, so that we have the eagle's view of something and we put it down there. So I'm not just the best baker in town. That's an open-ended statement. Why am I not the best baker in the province? Why don't I have export and stuff in my mind? I must have that bigger picture. Not able to, because we all know that. If I put my mind to it, I can create it. And I can achieve it. So that takes a little bit of time when you play people, because I must first move them into space. And that's not easy. Especially the left brain guys and girls, to move them into space. So that they can understand that, everything is important to be shared. My feelings, my facts, my beliefs, we put it together in that pot, in that overview. Because that's what the eagle sees. Not limited by horizon. I don't have to protect my little domain here as the financial guy, CFO of the organization, scared that somebody's going to take my job or say to me, you're not effective, kick you out. No. I don't have to fight about that. We're talking about the greater good of the organization. So that's creating the vision. I hope you understand that we can't go through checklist. In any discussion, the discussion leads it. There's a flow. That's all we need in that discussion is flow. And I think, and we bring it to the fore. Discussion, we just put it together. Then we discussed it. Okay, so it's very much a principle that's applied there as a virtual boardroom concept or a mastermind concept. And later on, some of these video clips, you can learn a little bit more about virtual boardroom and mastermind. Concepts are there. Every person contributes how they feel and what they think and what they know. And the insight that then is to understand who I am. Because I can have a phenomenal dream of climbing Kilimanjaro or Everest or whatever the case may be. But I must also bring in line and saying, I'm unfortunate in a wheelchair. I broke my back when in a motor vehicle accident. So don't have that unrealistic expectation that you create for yourself that those things are possible. Just bring it in line. We mustn't. I don't want to use the word stupid. But we must be a realist. So trust the L1 to come with a reality check. So that's key. But understand who I am and why I am. What makes me tick. So and that's critically important. And that in that introspection of the organization, that insight, bring to the fore what's really lying down deep down here. Because you may have taken a career. I'm using the HR all the time, so my apologies to my HR friends out there. But bring it to fore that you're an HR manager, and you studied that, and you just grew that in an organization, and you're very good at it. But you can be good at it. It doesn't mean that's what makes you happy and that's what makes you tick. So in your thinking preference, you can be in a role that you're excellent and everybody applauds you and you get recognitions or whatever. But at the end of the day, when you get home, you understand how much energy and effort it put in there to be that. Not necessarily to hold up that front, but just to be that good. Because I must constantly think about it. Whilst if you do what you're passionate about, then you don't have to think about it. Second nature. It's like driving a car. After a couple of years, I don't go down and say, okay, number 1, 2, 3, 4. I automatically does everything in the car. And I've driven miles and I realize, how did I get here? Just autopilot. And autopilot, bringing the subconscious mind into play. Give them that responsibility and saying, hey, that's Bertie. Live your life to the fullest as Bertie. And stop living somebody else's dreams. Live your own. Mr. Organization, same there. And I don't want to dabble into living the dreams of the shareholders. We know that thing about the shareholders and the board and the management. We don't want to dabble there now. So insight, important. Who am I? What I'm all about. Okay. And then a simple time spent in terms of the foresight. Is how and why I'm going to live my future in the here and now, and what's going to look like, and how I'm going to feel when I do that. It's like having a door that you open to infinity, and you just see there the absolute future that you're going to live now. Because it's not this whole concept of having a vision, yes, but that's not necessarily in the end state. I have a combination of them. I build on that and grow them. Having a dream could be having interim goals, which is like steps on the ladder, getting you to that dream. But this is more. Might even be defined as part of your legacy. So that's what I take people down, and I think that's important that we understand that it's not pie in the sky and it's not so difficult. You have got all the answers there. Coaches will tell you that you've got all the answers. If you want a mentor, I can mentor you. But if you want me to coach you, I coach you to become the champion that you are capable of. It's just hidden in there. You suppressed it because somebody, somewhere along the line, might have said the wrong thing. So you suppressed it down there. Whether a teacher, whether it's a parent, whether it's a sport coach, whatever the case may be. Subconsciously, this guy, powerful. Because remember, if we want to make a change, like a habit, we must get this subconscious mind to buy into it. Otherwise, it's not going to happen. Because he'll go back to what is that tape that you put in your mind and stored in here, in your subconscious mind. That if that situation happens, or this happened, I play that tape and I respond accordingly. Good or bad, because this thing here hasn't got the ability to distinguish between right and wrong. What you feed it is what they can give you back. Maybe not now, maybe not tomorrow, but when you least expect it. So it's important that we make certain to do that, and that is in the organization. If we see our teams, our employees, as individuals, entities, we look at them as data specialists in their entity, what they bring to the company, and not see beyond that, that they are important capital to the organization, which I need to develop and grow and expand and apply more effectively. Therein lies the answer of success. Passion plus purpose equals prosperity. I'm passionate about what I do, and I understand what everyone in the organization is passionate about. And the overall purpose then may be, in terms of organization perspective, the overall vision we created for organization. That's our purpose. And every single one buy into the purpose so they can add their passion and their purpose and become and have the prosperity. And that doesn't mean money and whatever. I'm saying that's success for the organization, for the greater good of self and the organization.